Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a Mercedes G63 AMG 6x6. This one's a Matchbox version in 1:64 scale, but this is all about going big today, so I'm pulling out a 1:43 scale. Same vehicle. This one's by Welly. I like working on these larger scales. Hey, what's wrong with this picture? It's brand new out of the box and I don't have the Mercedes grille. Give it a shake. Not loose in the box either. This is my entry to the Diecast Mafia's September challenge on the theme of tracks. I do some careful measuring before I take this one apart because I'm going to have to do some 3D resin printing to match this as the benchmark size before I go forward. These big scale wellies come with screws instead of rivets and plastic heads on them, so that makes it one step easier. It's a pullback toy, so the rear set from the double axle has a little motor unit, but I'm not going to use those wheels or this chassis. This is what I'm going to work with today. It's all got to go on top of a set of tracks, so you'll get the vision in a couple of moments where I'm headed with this one. Dashboard assembly comes out, including one pedal. Maybe that's a brake. I'm going to try my best to make sure these are opening doors at the end of the project, just like I always try to ensure they're rollers if I use the wheels, which is most often the case, but not today. There's the roof assembly. I have to go at these melted plastic heads from the inside with my pin vise, just to loosen them up, but they'll go back in nicely too. Big heavy roll bar, chrome runners, the front grille assembly minus the grille, which was unfortunate. And I'll put the pieces I'm not going to use in a Ziploc bag. That goes into the boneyard, my ever-growing collection of spare or unused parts. And the important parts that I'm going to use in this project, I'll put them all in a plastic bin. It'll still be an all-terrain vehicle at the end, I promise you that. Coming soon on my channel, a couple of events that I don't want you to miss, including a revisiting of the Corvette Summer Stingray for the Diecast Media Network, my stove build-off, in support of the Diecast Day of Giving. There's my Fantasy Skytrain. And if you get all subbed up for no charge at all, you won't miss any of these events. And you'll be helping me on the road to 5,000 subs, which is coming very soon. I looked at a variety of different STL files on Thingiverse for tank tracks, and I chose this Russian T80. This was a 10-hour long 3D resin print because I had to do it vertically. I handle it with bare hands only after I've thoroughly rinsed it in water, and this is water-soluble resin that I use. And there's your first look at the AMG 6x6, minus the wheels, on top of the tracks. Today's community shout-out goes to the head of the Diecast Mafia build team, and that's 2AHD Cat. We've been online friends for 4 years now, and I left a link in the description so you can go by and support his channel and the Diecast Mafia. These are the 4 Vallejo Model Air colors that I've chosen to do my very first camouflage job, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing or how I'm going to do it, but I've decided on this desert pattern. So I just laid down some mud brown first, very lightly. Of course, the whole tank got primered before this. Flip it over and do the underside as well. This is burnt umber. I'm just putting some spots and streaks on here randomly to give it a multi-sand colored look. Here I've combined burnt umber with some black to give it the darkest effect. And that'll be the main tread color too. And I do the same effect on the body of the 6x6. Some streaks here and there. There's going to be lots of weathering and panel liner and dusting going on later, so bear in mind it's a multi-stage process. With both main components painted now, I'm going to clip off these axle holders so that the chassis of the AMG will lay flat on the top of the tank. Obviously, this is where the rotating turret and gun would have gone. Super glue and baking soda is going to give this a tremendously strong cement-like bond, which is what I need here. I hit all the contact points I can, even reaching in underneath on the inside. I needed some way to cover the open wheel wells, and I figured, hey, it's a tank, why not some sandbags? So I printed up a couple of sets of those, painted them accordingly in the same desert camo, and look at that. I still haven't fastened down the body, as you can see. If you're ever working on a model with opening doors, don't forget to paint the inside of the doors in whatever color is appropriate. Here I stuck with the same desert pattern. The plastic door cards went back into place. They're black. Back in with the dashboard. So I'm reassembling the inner parts before I secure the body onto the tank, as I just have now. On to the most fun part for me, and that's the fine weathering that takes place to give it the most authentic and realistic touch possible. I start with a makeup sponge and a little bit of white paint for some damage effects. I wanted to make sure the doors could freely open and close before I put these front sandbags over the open wheel wells. A couple of dabs here and there. This is some brown wash that goes liberally everywhere, and it can dry in whatever way it wants because it's just going to give a natural dirty water look. I resisted the urge to put a heavy tank gun on the roof of the AMG. Thought I'd go for some light weaponry on the back bed of the 6x6, so I found this gun. Actually, this is a Time Rider design from Thingiverse. Thanks, Lee, for that. It's just right for this project. I do it up with some gunmetal gray, put it on a base, rotating turret, and that'll find its place in the back. Windshield wipers get some black trim, as do the side mirrors with my finest paintbrush, and some reflective glass. And a little dry brushing of silver over certain chrome areas on the AMG. I wanted to include some realistic looking heavy cables on the tank, and I managed to do that with a guitar string on both sides. But the gold string needs to be thoroughly weathered, a little bit of touch-up paint. And now for the panel liner, which gives an outstanding effect on any of the shot lines or door jambs. I use it all over the model, even on the bottom. What a great product. Hopefully my tank looks like it's seen a little bit of action out in the field now. But I'm not done yet. I use a couple of patches of grass stuck in the tank treads wherever I thought it might have got kicked up from a muddy field. Now I put the plastic parts back on the front, including the headlights. Still missing that front grille, but here's my solution to that. I would have done this anyways. This is an onion bag that I've painted in the desert camel earth tones. Just a couple of touches of super glue to hold that in place. This is what an army would use to put some sticks or branches into to complete the subterfuge that they're trying to achieve. I've got this kind of craft wire wrapped tightly around one of my Sharpie pens. And now I got some barbed wire. Look at that. That's easy to do that way. Almost finished. Can there ever be too much weathering? Probably yes, but you've got to have a little bit of a rust effect. I use some Vallejo wash, sparingly, here and there where I think the most weathering would have occurred. And now for some Tamiya weathering powders, all in the desert camel colors. Don't forget the windshield that needs to be grunged up like that. These are some pastel road chalks that I've ground down into powder form. This is what the kids use to play hopscotch with. It doesn't really adhere well, but if I spatter it on like this, blow it off, then give it a good rub-in with the brush, I get a tremendous dusting effect. Very realistic, because after all, it's out in the desert. And so, especially on the bottom and the treads that pick up a lot of that, stick a fork in it, this one is done. The original G63 AMG 6x6 was a military vehicle designed for the Australian Army. I've just taken it a step further and mounted it on the Russian T-80 tank tracks, as was the theme of the Diecast Mafia build, with some barbed wire and camouflage netting, light gunnery in the back, lots of weathering, and I put it on this simple diorama that I made. I'm well pleased with the final effect and the look that I got on this one. So thanks to the Diecast Mafia for sponsoring this fun project. Be sure to check all of them out, and I want to thank you for visiting my channel today. Leave your respectful comments below. Come on back soon, and often. It's coffee time.